Welcome to BXDV877, and in today's video I will be showing you how to install Windows XP Professional inside of VirtualBox. This will work with Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10, as well as Linux operating systems. So what you'll want to do beforehand is install two programs. Of course, VirtualBox. I assume most of you guys already have that, but if you don't, here's the download, virtualbox.org. And then you'll also want to download a program called 7-Zip. 7-Zip is a free archive software that lets you unzip 7-zip files as well as zip files and a whole bunch of other things. The main reason why we need it is to unzip a 7-zip file. So download this. You can also, it's mainly for Windows, but you can also download it for Linux distributions as well. So once you have these two programs, go ahead and open up VirtualBox and go ahead and make a new operating system virtual machine, and let's just name it Windows XP 32-bit, just like that. Oh, I said 2-bit. 32-bit. And if you want, you can in fact select 64-bit, but the Windows XP itself is 32-bit, and that does not change anything. It still can't run 64-bit applications. Okay, so go ahead and click Next. Here's where you select the amount of RAM you want to give it. I recommend just giving it maybe a gigabyte, maybe a gigabyte and a half. I think that's what I'll do. Windows XP doesn't really need much. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll keep it at 1.5 gigabytes. Windows XP does not need much RAM at all. At this point, I'm probably making it like a full-fledged gaming computer from 2003. Okay, so go ahead and click Next. Keep it on Create a Virtual Hard Disk Now. And click Create. Keep it on VirtualBox Disk Image. That one works the best with VirtualBox. This page is of personal preference. I like dynamically allocated because it takes less time to create from the start, but it is a bit slower. Fixed size, however, is much faster, but it automatically takes up the amount of space you give it on your hard disk, no matter if you've taken up that much space in the virtual machine or not. And it is faster, but I will select dynamically allocated. Here is where you select the amount of storage you want to give it. I will give it 25. Nah, I'll give it 21 gigabytes. Okay, so we now have our virtual machine right here in the blue. Now let's go to settings, and I'll do a few optional settings that a lot of people forget. Now first off, let's go to display, and as you can see here under video memory, it's at 18 megabytes. Now it doesn't really matter that much for XP, but I do like to give virtual machines a fair amount of video memory, or else it looks kind of sluggish. So I'll put it at 78 megabytes. That's probably all we need for XP. And now let's go to storage. Now you'll notice this little disk icon here that says empty next to it. Click on that. And now before we continue, let's go to the Windows XP Professional 7-zip file. Go ahead and right click on that and go over the 7-zip menu and then click on Extract Files here. You could also click Extract Files, but either one will work. So then it will extract them. 7-zip is pretty fast about it, so it shouldn't take much time. It's already almost done for me, so that's a good thing. And it's done. So now, let's go ahead and, actually I'll just keep it there. Now you'll notice you have two files. You'll have the actual Windows XP Professional ISO, and you'll have the Windows XP Professional product key. Now the way this ISO works, you don't need the product key to actually run Windows XP, but there may be some programs that you need the product key for, so I'm including it in there just in case. Okay, so now go back to this little settings window right here, and now on the right you should see this little disk icon. Go ahead and click on that and click choose optical disk file. Now you'll want to go to your folder. In this case for me it's operating systems tutorials, and you should see your Windows XP ISO. Go ahead and click open, and now you're all done here, so click OK, and now click start to start the virtual machine. It may take a little while depending on how fast your machine is, but it will start up considering the settings are okay. And you should see the Windows setup screen. Let me maximize this. It may take a few moments for it to get ready, but in a few seconds it should show the actual setup. So let's just let it run. And here it is. So this part's pretty easy. Go ahead and hit enter, because unpartitioned space is the only space that you can install Windows on for this. So just click enter on that. Let's see here. I recommend selecting format the partition space using NTFS file system quick. That usually works the best for Windows XP. And now just let it format the drive. It will go much quicker in the virtual machine than an actual PC from back then. So yeah, it's already done. So now it's checking the drive, and then it should start copying the files. Yep, it's copying the files to the virtual hard disk right now, and I probably won't need to speed it up because it's already pretty quick. Yeah, it's going at a pretty good speed. It's already at 30%. So let's just let this run. And if it suddenly stops in the middle of it for you, don't panic, just let it run. Sometimes it may take a little while depending on what settings you gave your virtual machine and your PC. So if that happens, just let it run. It's completely normal. And it looks like we're almost done. 94%, 95%, and we are done. Okay, so now it will initialize your configuration, and then it will restart. Now, this time do not press any key to boot from the CD. That will ruin it all. Don't do that. And as you can see, it's booting up from the hard disk with Windows XP, which is a great thing to see. Okay, so we will now enter the last phase of the setup. Well, not the last phase, the middle phase of the setup. This part will probably be the one that takes the longest. So just let it do its thing. It shouldn't take too long. It definitely won't take 39 minutes, as it says right here. Also, we have a mouse cursor now, which is good. Eventually, once it's ready, it will show like system time and administrator passwords and all of that. So, yeah, this part of the setup is pretty straightforward. I'll just let it do its thing, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so the first setup screen is shown up. Here's where you enter your name. Of course, mine is James. You don't need to enter your organization, especially if you're not a part of one. Just click on Next. Here's where you name your computer. I'll just leave it on computer 1. Type in your administrator password. The person down in the comments who can guess my password gets a heart on their comment by me. It shouldn't be too hard to find that out. Okay, here's where you put your time in. And that would be Central Time. Just put in your time zone. All of that is just about correct. I wouldn't check automatically adjust clock for daylight savings time changes. I've heard bad things can happen to your time if you do that. Just click on Next. And it will proceed with the rest of installing Windows. At this point it should only take about 10 minutes or less. As you can see, the minutes are jumping down like seconds on this little part right here. So just let it do its thing. Copying files really isn't taking that long. It's already almost done. And it's finally completing the installation, so I assume after this it will switch to the finalizing installation phase, which is good. Okay, it is now rebooting, and we are coming to the part of the setup that has the best Windows music ever. There will be a few of these boxes, just click OK, and click OK. Okay, hopefully that music isn't too loud. Let me just lower my desktop audio a bit, so you can hear me good. Okay, so go ahead and click Next. Considering Windows XP is out of support, it doesn't really matter what you choose here. I guess I'll just click the top one, but it really doesn't matter what you choose at this point. Okay, enter your username for the computer. And click Next. And we are now done, so go ahead and click Finish. And we get that nostalgic Windows XP music. May take a few moments on the first boot, but it will boot up. And as you can see here, we are now in Windows XP. So let's go ahead and install the VirtualBox guest editions now. We are not fully done yet. So go ahead and go up to the Devices menu. Go ahead and remove the installation CD. And click on Insert Guest Editions CD Image. This installer will now pop up. Go ahead and click Next. Select where you want it to install. This is a good space. Go ahead and click Next. Since this is experimental, I do not recommend installing direct 3D support. So go ahead and click Install. This will take a little while. A few windows should pop up, which means the installation is going successfully. And this is now set up, so you will have to reboot for these guest additions to take effect. So go ahead and reboot now and click Finish. And we get another iconic Windows XP music. And the reason why we wanted to install that is that so Windows XP can take up the entire VirtualBox window, as you will see here in a second. And here's the welcome screen, and as you can see, the Windows XP operating system now takes up the entire screen because we added the guest additions. Now finally, to get rid of these Windows security alerts, go ahead and double click on the icon. Or if the balloon pops up, just click on the balloon. It is not popping up. What is going on? Okay, so you have to right click on it, sorry. Anyway, so go ahead and open up the security center. And since we don't really care if this gets viruses, it's just a virtual machine, go ahead and click on the recommendations button. And check I have an antivirus program that I'll monitor myself, and this will get rid of those pesky security alerts. So now you have fully installed Windows XP in VirtualBox. I hope this was helpful. I will be posting all of the files and programs you need in the description below if you want to do this yourself. And thanks for watching.